Welcome back to another episode of Real Game Talk, where sports and culture collide to create a conversation. I am your host and your co-host, Will. We're live in studio today, which means we are with another live guest. Also, Real Game Talk is still brought to you by Exclusive Sneak Shop in Mesquite and Rockwall, Texas, where they fit in to stand out. As you guys know, I normally do the show with my co-host, Matt. Matt, what's going on with you today, my man?
Man, what's good, bro? I'm just, I'm loving today. Got another studio appearance, and so that means we got a guest. So I'm excited, ready to see what we going to learn today and what information she going to share with us.
Okay. With that being said, we are coming to you guys today on the heels or the conclusion of the 2025 NBA season, where the Oklahoma City Thunder have won the finals. With that being said, when the finals comes in, the postseason is over, we normally transition over into the NBA offseason. The first part of the NBA offseason is transitional moves as well as the NBA draft. Last month, the Dallas Mavericks were on the NBA draft lottery, where they now have the number one pick. Well, today we're bringing somebody who is on the front lines with the Dallas Mavericks on a day-to-day basis. It's somebody who is making major moves, major plays, also while making brands fit the culture. Today is our first lady guest. So with that being said, we want to welcome the 2024 Cosign Magazine Sports Executive of the Year. Also, the 2024 Rookie of the Year is selected by the Dallas Mavericks executives. And this lady is the Director of Marketing, Corporate Sponsorship, and Merchandise for the Dallas Mavericks. We want to welcome to the show Alexandria Williams.
Hi. Wait a minute. Hold on. I have questions. So, did you do that all off of just memory?
I did do all of that.
That is a gift.
That is off
Because I was like, where's the teleprompter?
No, that was off of memory. That was
off
from,
the dome.
From research. That was from wanting you to come on the show. That
Thank
was from
you.
Just being excited about doing this show. So we wanted to make sure that we got those accolades in for you. Let our audience know who we had on today. We wanted them to know your accolades as far as what you've been doing in the marketing, the sports management.
Yes.
So we're excited about this.
And the first lady?
Yeah, you definitely.
Can I just say first lady? I'm sorry. I love that for me. No, but thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for giving us your time, and we look forward to going through this script and going through these questions and this conversation that we plan to have.
Let's do it.
On your background and what you guys normally do on a day-to-day basis. We'll kick off the show with just some things about you, as we know that you have a father who played football at TCU back in the 80s. I have kids. I played collegiate football at Central Arkansas.
Okay.
One of the things that we're always talking about is the discipline that I learned from being an athlete. And when you normally have, military kids, you get some of that discipline and structure. You always hear things about preachers' kids and things of that nature, but I wanted to ask you, what was it like to have a former athlete as a dad? What are some things that you learned growing up in that household that you attributed to your life right now today?
Hey, Daddy. Wait, I have a question. You brought up preachers' kids. Are you a PK?
No. I'm not a PK. I know that, like I said, I use those as examples, like PKs, military kids. You don't always get a spotlight on former athletes' kids. But
right.
I know that because I play sports, a lot of things that I do today, because I was the athlete back then and the structure that I have for us. So I want to know what you did. Or what you learned.
Fun fact about me, I am a PK.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Different podcast, though. It's be a different conversation. I was like, dang, he really did his. How did nobody knows that?
Got you.
But yes, okay. So yes, my dad played football at TCU offensive line. I want to say, don't quote me, I think 79 to 83.
Okay.
Played Omega, I think the founding chapter, I think also there. But yeah, I grew up, I think TCU was like my first football team. Okay. There's a picture of me crying at the Easter egg hunt from the Horned Frog. Because also, what is the Horned Frog? But I love TCU.
I understand.
Memories there, like I love it so much.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to volleyball there, but they were offering me scholarship at the time. And, you know, it's very expensive to go to TCU, so I ended up going to Prairie. We'll talk about later, but yeah.
All right. So, with that being said, and like I said, we'll dive into that question.
Yep.
Growing up with a former athlete as your dad, is there something that you feel like you learned from him that he might have learned from playing sports back in the day? That he incorporated in your life growing up and things that you might have taken to your sports career as well?
Yeah, I'll say for sure discipline. I mean, so I have a younger sister who plays soccer in high school. So I played volleyball in college. I quit basketball my sophomore year, which the coaches hated because I was the tallest girl on the team. It was, I saw it's too much touching. It was giving too much pushing and, you know, it was getting a little bit aggressive. There's a net in volleyball.
Right.
And I was better at volleyball. So I quit to be able to focus on volleyball year round and then also play club. And then I ran track also all 4 years. I did 300 hurdles, which I look now, it's like diabolical. Like the athletes who do that are like amazing, like the endurance. Sure. And I was okay. And then I did high jump, went to regionals a few times. And then I also did mile relay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a lot right there.
Thank you. And volleyball captain and student body vice president. I mean, just, you know, she was involved.
Indeed.
But no, it was very much so disciplined because I was doing all of that. There was a level of like unspoken excellence, I'll say, that I had to abide by, but it was never like you have to be number one or you have to be student body vice president. It was kind of like this understood, and like because my family was so great in my opinion, I need to like live up to that, but it was never like you have to do it this way or that way, which I loved. I probably did more because they didn't force me to do certain things or, you know, abide by that. But also I brought up my sister because my dad has no sons.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was my sister and I.
Gotcha.
And so it was very much so I felt like he was like a little bit harder with volleyball because he couldn't have, you know, playing football, if you will. So he was at all my games, like coaching on the sidelines. I mean, my dad's 6'6", so it was very like, and everybody knew my dad was. So my daddy, like, okay, it's volleyball. It's not, I'm not tackling anybody. But yeah, I would say that. And then also my family is a sports family. So my aunt, unfortunately, has passed away, but she played basketball at UT. Joy Williams, my grandmother coached at La Vega in Waco for, I want to say, over 40 years, women's basketball. And so I just come from like a sports fan. My mom, she just cheered for us on the sidelines.
Understandable. So
and made sure we ate.
One, I'll go,
especially them track meets.
for sure. How far apart are you and your sister?
We are 4-ish years in age and like 3 in school. So it was kind of one of those, like, I was a senior, she was a freshman, like that kind of divide. But yeah, she's in New York. Hey, Wyndon.
Ah, sounds good. And
Yeah.
so, with that being said, as far as your parents being involved, were there conversations that you guys normally had on the way home from games? Did they encourage, like, was it a critical conversation, or was it, hey, I'm just happy you're having fun type of conversation? Oh, okay.
I think when I got to a certain age and it was like, you're going to try to play in college, that was the goal. I wanted to play for Nebraska or Stanford. Everybody knows volleyball in Nebraska or Stanford, like, it's serious. Like, you're talking, I want to say Nebraska's women's volleyball team literally played at the football field and sold it out for volleyball.
They did.
Like, that's how serious it was. And let's also be very clear. I have on heels right now, but I'm 5'10", 5'10 and a half on a good day. You know, so even playing in college, like, I was short I played middle blocker.
Okay.
So I was relatively short for the position that I played. But to your question about the conversations, it was like, what can we do better? Mm-hmm. You know, like, you missed this. Like, I was jump serving my freshman year of volleyball just to have that competitive edge. And I did grow up in East Texas, which was great, but also we didn't have as many club teams or as many skill camps if you were to be in a Dallas or a Houston or, you know, a populated area. But I played club. My parents drove me to the better club team, which was an hour and a half away. We practiced Wednesdays and Sundays. Okay. I mentioned my dad was a pastor.
Oh, on Sunday, so he's leaving.
And Wednesday's Bible study.
Oh.
So they were committed. I look back at my parents, y'all really loved me.
Right, for sure.
So I felt it was actually be my best, and then play in college because they were like giving so much. And club costs money, right? Everybody isn't forced to play club, but it's kind of like a requirement if you want to play in college. So yeah, it was very what's the word? It was very constructive feedback, if you will. But yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay. You said you actually led me into my next question when you were talking about club. I wanted to know was there, and then you also mentioned East Texas. So, growing up in East Texas, Texarkana, were there any programs that you feel like coming up through your youth that were good at attributing to who you are today as well? Not just having a dad in the sports area, but also those grassroots programs. Were any of those grassroots programs?
Sure. Yeah. Good question. So yes, East Texas. I was born in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And then we moved to East Texas when I want to say 8, but I did middle school there, high school there. So like I mentioned before, like extremely involved. Everybody knew who my parents' family was, all of that good stuff. But as far as like grassroots programs, I mean, I was in Jack and Jill. I was a debutante. We did cotillion, the whole white dress dad situation. We did the whole etiquette classes and everything.
Okay.
I cheered in middle school.
Okay.
So yeah, Boys and Girls Club. We were very involved. I was in a teenage chorus, if you will. I cannot sing though. I was in the back, but don't tempt me.
Is it all girls chorus or something?
No, it was mixed like after school. It was guys and girls.
Okay.
Yeah, we had uniforms, and I look back now, I'm like, why did I agree to that? Because I can't sing. But will I volunteer? Yes.
Okay. So,
Karaoke, anyway.
So you're basically coming from a well-rounded core as a kid.
I would think so. I would think I'm very well-rounded. I mean, we all can do better, but like I said, student council all through high school. I was student body vice president. My senior year, I was involved in SGA though, like my entire time in high school, and also college mainly as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that attributed to how I kind of had to pivot when I went to college after volleyball. Also,
Understandable.
but yeah,
you are hitting every subject that I want to segue.
I told you some work in TV, like
I got you. Okay.
But yeah, I always say my high school upbringing, in my opinion, was like High School Musical, but like more diverse. Okay. Like cause my high school, it was a very nice win. So we won state in 2002 when I was like in middle school. Okay. And then we got like this, we got like endowment or money. I don't know if it was from us winning, but whatever. But my high school was, I always say it's kind of like Allen is, but no big city attached before Allen was Allen. Right. Like we had an indoor, or have an indoor football field, driving range for golf, tennis courts, like separate theater, a science building. Yeah, like it's very nice. Yeah, so we were very fortunate. Cool, and you would have children going there whose parents were of different socioeconomic backgrounds. So it was great.
So what?
I was on homecoming court. I didn't win though.
I did too. So I had my question. I was just about to. Something you said made me think about it. Go ahead, Willie. We'll come back to it.
The upbringing, all the facilities.
It was about the high school, and I went right. I was thinking it
talking
went
about
blank.
the driving course for the golf.
It was nice. Yeah. So Texas High was 4A. I think it's 5A now.
That's what I'm glad you said that. So what you said state title. Which sport was that?
Football.
Football. Okay. Okay.
And my dad actually coached the first year we moved there. He was head football coach.
So how close did y'all get in volleyball?
We were good, but it's like also, so we were 4A. Arkansas High, which is a state line, so big rivalry there, like seriously. Like if anybody asks, like Texas side. So sorry, my Arkansas friend. So like the game was big. Football, any sport you played against Arkansas was a rivalry game, but football was like huge. People would come back in town for that one. But so we had Arkansas, which was I think 6A, and then like the other schools that were around high school was like 3A, but one of them was like private, and so volleyball was like more prevalent there, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, and I'm going to ask you, Ryan Mallett.
Yeah.
He go to Texas High? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I met him. He was a year ahead of me.
Okay. I met him in Fayetteville. Before he was actually playing tight end before and they switched him over to
A
quarterback.
great human, and his dad, Coach Mallet.
Great guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't a great guy when I met him because he got mad because I was busting him up that day.
Okay. But no, we
ended
went
up
to
being a great guy. So
yeah, we went to middle school, high school together. My mom's we have a picture of us in 7th. But anyway, yeah, great guy.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally good guy. Like I said, we were on the field, we were competing. I was busting his team up that day. We kind of had a ruffle, I should say, and so I walked away like, I don't know how I feel about that, but. Coming back, him going to Michigan first and then coming back to Arkansas, I became a fan of his work.
Yeah.
The receivers that he had, I was a fan of his work. So seeing what he did coming from that camp to where he became, total legend. Salutes out to him. Shout out to his family and RIP to him.
Yeah, rest in peace to Ryan. But yeah, we were very excited, even though I'm not an Arkansas fan. Okay. We were very excited when he did go to Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah, so we wanted him to go originally.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Was it a big deal when he went from Michigan to Arkansas, or you just was okay with him going straight from Michigan?
I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, we have a lot of athletes, football-wise, that go play D1.
Gotcha.
So even with volleyball with me, even though it is D1, a smaller D1, but it wasn't as big a deal. I feel as we have so many, even that play in the NFL, and it's so funny because when recruiters would come down to our facilities to recruit players, I mentioned about our indoor football field that we had in the weight room. Now I feel like our schools are have that more, but they would look at us how can we recruit players to come here? Facilities in your high school is this because it was nice.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
If you look up pictures, it's
I'm have to do some research on it. I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Okay. With that being said, you left Texas High, you go to PV.
Yeah.
Prairie View A&M.
The Prairie Views.
Okay. Yes. In which you are playing or do play volleyball. Is that correct? And then you suffer an injury.
Yes.
Correct as well? Okay. Talked about going there, playing volleyball, sustaining that injury, and then also coming out of that injury and kind of making a pivot in life at that point.
Yeah. Let's be very clear. I was not getting recruited by lots of teams. Again, it's East Texas. We were okay. I was playing clubs that got me more eyeballs. But again, 5'10", playing middle blocker. Most middle blockers, I feel now are 6'3" and up.
Right.
6'2" maybe, and they had hops. I could jump, but I couldn't jump. I'm even gonna shade y'all on that regard. So yeah, so my coach, if you want to play, send out tapes. Right. So we made actual tapes. Sure. Dang, I feel so old. So we sent out actual tapes. But I was in the paper. I had certain accolades. So we could mail them out. I said I wanted to go to PV. My dad was against it. He will still say this because I feel now there's a wonderful HBCU renaissance. Everybody wants to go to one, and we, the light is better. They've always been amazing, always been great. Okay. But at first he was well, I want to make sure you get the same opportunities that your counterparts will get if they go to a PWI. Right. And he was a TCU, so he was nervous about that. I was Daddy, I promise, I'm fine. So we went on a visit. He said, "Oh, the campus is great." Right. I got a scholarship offer, and he was "Oh, now I love it here." Right. Sign her up because TCU was offering me any money at the time. So yeah, I got a scholarship, thankfully, and I was off to the races. We had my first my volleyball coach, Coach Trotter, in high school. At least she's still coaching. She was we have to train every day in the summer because I don't think you understand what you're about to get yourself into when it comes to playing in college. Because also, I meant to say also, I was going to camps. So I was going to TC volleyball camp when I was in high school, UT volleyball camp. Is it Henderson College, I believe, in Arkansas?
Henderson State.
Yeah, Henderson State. I won several awards at those camps. Okay. I'm just
you was doing your thing.
I'm just saying.
Right.
But yeah, so I was going to camps and things also to your point about grassroots, and then also I was fortunate to be able to go to those. Basketball camp too. Yeah, know how that went. But yeah, so volleyball, we didn't have 2 days, we had 4 days. And we'd be on campus, earlier. So they're the football players, everybody, or whatnot. So get the schedule. And we had to run the loop. So the loop is around campus, right? PV is in the country, if you're not aware. Outside of Houston, roughly, if you're driving, 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Right.
So that was like our first 2 a day, which was 4 days. Then it was, you do breakfast and then weights and then lunch and then practice and then dinner and then practice, all during the summer. So my first day of 2 a days, I dislocated my knee going for a ball. And it popped out and it popped back in, and so they're like, either gonna do surgery or you're just gonna like see what happens. But I was in a cast, I feel, or not a cast, like the foam full leg thing, swinging my leg around like this, looking crazy. And I'm a freshman on campus, right? First impression.
Understandable.
Okay.
Understandable.
So yeah, I wore that for like 2 weeks, but ended up playing the full season. So played the full season. I did okay, but our first game was against Baylor. I told you my grandparents, Waco, all of that. I come from a sports family. Invited my entire family out to the Waco game. Still, the scrimmage game is when the bigger schools play the teams they're probably going.
Right.
Y'all, invited my grandparents, my cousins, little cousins. When I say we get whooped, straight sets. Again, 5'10.5" on a good day, right? Tallest girl at the net, shortest girl at the net. Shortest girl has to have been like maybe 6'3". Oh, wow. So
I can see.
My grandmother was like, "You invited me to this, baby?" I was like, Jesus. So played the full season. Great experience. I do wish there was NIL when I was in college, because I feel like I would have made so much money even though I wasn't that good. But yeah, played. Offered me to come back the next year, but no scholarship money. I said respectfully, I declined. Right. So I told my parents, because I was scholarship, and they were like, do what we trust you. And so they paid for my next 2 years out of pocket, which I very much saw 3 years, which I appreciate greatly. But then I got involved with school. So I was a PAL, which is like our mentors for freshmen. So I did that for 2 or 3 years. I was an SGA. I was on Senate for the business college. I was what I majored in was business. But yeah, I did things with like a homecoming and different things. So I got very, very involved after that. But yeah, business major, Hobart, Texas, all of that. But yeah, great experience playing. I wish I could have played maybe a couple of more years, but it was God's plan, and I'm happy I got to say that I played. But I always tell athletes that want to play in college, it's a full-time job.
It is very much
like,
a full-time
I don't think
job. It
registers, especially like now. Right? Or if you want to go to like a large, D1 school, like, y'all, like, lock in.
It is very much a full-time
lock in with
job.
grades, mentally, lock in.
Yeah. Now, luckily, everybody gets NIL for that. When I was playing, we didn't get any NIL, and we were still there doing all those hours.
Do you want to know, did y'all get like a little like stipend or something? How much was yours? For the year, right?
No, they broke it down in monthly. We got monthly stipends.
Shut up. How much was it?
At that time, maybe, and I'm going to say this for my people back home, because I know mine was a little more than most of my teammates.
Not you getting a little extra bonus, but go ahead. You don't get to tell me the real number. I'll tell you mine.
I give it $850 a month, somewhere in there.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Oh, and you older than me? Y'all, they call us into the baby dome. That's where we played or whatever. All the athletes. $500 one-time payment.
Period.
500 period. If everybody's getting other money or athlete football was more or track, we didn't get that. But they called us all in as a unit.
That is
be
interesting. That is interesting because I say this and I'm going back because they split it up monthly because we had to pay our rent.
Yep.
They also gave us food outside of the meal plan.
Okay.
So that came monthly, and then.
Well, you said UCA also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was one of the reasons why, and I attribute it to you, and I'll say this. I'm gonna say it on camera. I had an uncle who played at football for University of Arkansas Pine Bluff.
UAPB. Okay.
Which is HBCU as well. Mm-hmm. During my recruiting process, he came home and was basically like, "I'm gonna tell you the real." He was like, "I want you to go to a PWI because I want your money and your finances to be straight.
Right.
I don't want you to have to worry about if you're a stipend or if your things are going to come in on time."
Right.
Which discouraged me from looking at the HBCUs Kind of like
I mean,
what you were saying. I would have wanted to go to do the experience too, though.
yeah.
Because I had family members go down to Grambling, and they had great times.
Ooh,
and not saying that
no,
I didn't
kidding.
have a great time, but as an athlete, I wanted everything to be buttoned up, I should say, based off of what he had just told me.
I mean, and to your point, that's a blessing that you had that. And I think I was blessed not to really worry about money in that regard. So I really didn't think about I'm not rich, but I'm just blessed that my parents were like, hey, you know, so I think about it as much. But I do know if the HBCUs could give it to the athletes, they would.
Most definitely.
Like if they had the money to give them, you know, all of that, then they would, you know. It just goes back to like funding and alumni support and all, you know, all of that. But I can understand, you know, why you decided not to.
For sure.
Yeah, and hopefully now y'all are getting all the money.
For sure.
Because that was years ago, even though I'm only 25.
I got you.
I know that's right.
Understandable. So yeah, at that time it was different. Now when you have like a Deion Sanders going and putting those on the map, they get more funding. So I would have definitely liked to have done that experience versus now versus then.
I love how the former pro athletes are now going back to coach at HBCUs.
Sure. Yeah, now that is
obsessed
right there. I like that. And I wish more people, more high school students would take that opportunity. I mean, I know the NIL is going to play a part in that, but if we did that, then at some point it would open up the doors for the HBCUs to get that
for sure
sponsorships and whatever else that they need to be able to compete with the what do you call them, PWI school?
Yes,
kind of like with Travis Hunter. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, Travis Hunter, definitely.
Yeah, I hope that more do that now that they're seeing that. I know there's coaches more doing so. Even Coach Coop, Cynthia Cooper in WNBA, she coached at Prairie View when I was there women's basketball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before, you know, all of this. So I hope, you know, we start doing that more to shine more light on that. So that'll only bring more money and more eyeballs you know, give our student athletes what they deserve because we work so hard.
Most definitely.
Like so hard.
The athletes are there.
Everybody, that's the reason why the money is there.
I almost quit so many times during 4 days.
Oh, man.
Don't quit, though.
I understand.
Keep
going.
alive.
I got you. Okay. As you transition from your collegiate days and your volleyball days, we know that you picked up a professional career at that point after graduating. Mm-hmm. So at one point you were working, you were a professor with some college students. You were also working with Cinemark and Target. And then you pivoted over to a sports franchise, which is the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah. How did you get from those areas over to the Dallas Mavericks? Mm-hmm. Then those definitely feeling like those are two different lanes, but also one and the same when it comes to marketing is the same. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
You know, it's crazy how I've done all that at this very young age in my 20s. That's crazy. So no, yes, I've done all of that.
Okay.
So after graduation, I was applying, y'all. I wanted to be working for BET or Ebony Magazine, or I want to be in New York working for publication, right?
Okay.
Vogue, Elle. So this is back when the editors would have like their email addresses. They might still in the magazine. Right. So I'm literally mailing my resume.
That's dope.
Like mailing my resume to these people, being like, "Hey, I'm great. Hire me." Basically, like postal mail. Again, that's crazy how that was, you know, only a few years ago. But that's what I wanted to do. Right, live in New York and, you know, do all of that, but didn't happen that way.
Okay.
So I actually, and also, I was supposed to be that person who was gonna do that. So it's very humbling when I actually moved back to where my parents lived in East Texas. Okay. And I worked at the high school I went to as a college advisor for a year and a half.
Bro.
So Texas, blessed, because I really shouldn't have that job, that big girl job at 23. Okay. Honestly, 22. Okay. But the superintendent, I was student body vice president, and the person had left, and I was like, I can relate to these students. Like, I'm fresh out of college, you know, it's college advisor.
Right.
Helping them at ACT, SAT prep. The athletes, like, I had just played, you know, in college, even though for a year, like, hey, this is what it's like, you know, relatable in that regard. So I did that for a year and a half. Very blessed, but that was not the plan. In my head. Right. So it's a second pivot now. Right. So I'm back at home, East Texas. I just left Houston, you know, in my parents' house. It was really a mind I won't say that word. It was difficult for a while.
Understandable.
But I really use that as like, I'm a Christian. I really use that very much so like, this is God's plan, like reminding myself this is like just a character builder. I'm going to get to where I go. It's take a little longer. But I look back on it now and it just made me appreciate this so much more because I had to go through that, because it might not sound, bad, but it's just like that wasn't the plan. So I'm really having to mentally, my friends are like, we're in Houston the weekend. I'm like, oh, I'm in East Texas. I don't think I said where I was for a while, to be honest. Yeah, it was just, so I went back to work there for a year and a half as a college advisor. I was cheer captain. I'm sorry, not cheer captain. Cheer sponsor.
Right, okay.
So I was, on the field going to games. That was fun. Cheer tryouts, all of that, which was interesting. But it was great. But the crazy part is I was working with my former teachers. Okay. Some of them were still there. So I used to be your student, and now I'm your colleague.
2 to 3 years. So
it was 4 years. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My sister also had just graduated the year before. 2 years before. A lot of her friends were still there. So it was just this weird space that I was in for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though, because most people, when they graduate and leave college, and I can say myself, I was in a space for maybe 8 to 12 months where I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. Mm-hmm. So you go through that stage of becoming an adult.
Right.
And then one of the things that I want everybody to go through is when you finally get that first job, but you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. That is where you can find some good character and find out a lot of things about yourself. Right. When you have graduated and you get your first job, but it's paying, but it ain't paying like you think you should be making. And that was an interesting thing. That was some things that you brought up, some similarities that I had as well.
Can I also say, when you graduate and your parents offer you to stay with them, stay at your parents' house as long as you can and save the money, right? Whatever you would put on rent, at least save half of that. Like don't touch it. And if your company's young people, if they give you company matching, do it.
I got you.
Like, do it now.
Right.
But yeah, so I did that for like a year and a half. Okay. Again, interesting because I had just graduated. People knew me, but now I work there. Just an interesting time, but extremely grateful that I had the opportunity because I could have just been back and I had a job.
Understandable.
And also I want to add, when I was in college, I was interning. So I had like 18 hours. I'm living in Cypress, which is in between, PV and Houston. I'm interning at Live Nation. Okay. Doing on the weekends, doing concerts, and that what department was that? Partnerships department. Okay. And then I'm also interning for like these kind of events, one and off these like event companies and like agencies. So I'm like interning for free, working for free. Right. And I was working at the outlets in Cypress, Banner Republic and Aldo, all at the same. Like I was like hustling. Like that's why I'm like, God, why I didn't have a job at graduation? Like I'm doing more than yes, it worked out how it was supposed to. But like my point about the New York thing or wanting to do that is because like I was really like really like trying. So
you didn't stop. A lot of people will stop.
That wasn't an option. That's something else with my parents and my dad. Like that wasn't like an option. Right. Like respectfully. Like you see all of what you accomplished and what you did. You middle blocker, you're short. You there's a plan, right, for you. So to your point, I didn't stop. So after that, I went to work for a dementia nonprofit raising money. People have dementia. In Houston. So I moved to Houston, back to Houston. I was marketing manager there for a few years. And then I went to work for CBS TV in Houston. I was the community partnerships liaison. So essentially what I did, I was the liaison between the community and the station, because there wasn't a marketing department at that time. So I was like 26 doing that, like working with the city of Houston and HISD and all these nonprofits and the Texans and the Astros, doing PSAs and coordinating the on-air talents like appearances. And I was over our foundation grant. We're giving out grant money to nonprofits. I had to build that from the ground up. I was doing a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I was there for almost 4 years, through Super Bowl when it was there, Hurricane Harvey, the first World Series that everybody counts.
The one that was cheating.
I was there for that one was so great because it was right after Hurricane Harvey when we won that one. So that was amazing. I was over our volunteer program at the station. It was great. I probably would have stayed there for a while if I would have gotten the pay and the title that I was asking for at that time.
Those positions led you to, and just from my research, and I could be wrong, led you to take a position with Target, which led you to move to New York. Is that correct?
So after CBS TV in Houston, KHOU, I also went and got my master's degree.
Okay. During
that time, I worked full time and got my master's degree from Purdue straight through. I look back now, I'm like, you should take a little break, girl. Like, calm down. Calm down, sis. Also, people ask your companies about tuition reimbursement because I should have had my company pay for my master's, but I didn't. Just all now I'm just giving giving it out because I should have looked at certain things. But because I wanted to be a professor. Okay. I feel like there weren't enough Black women teaching at that level, to be quite honest. And I'm part of the solution, not the problem. So I went back to get my master's, applied to teach at PV and TSU. They didn't call me. So I taught at U of H as an adjunct professor for 5 years. So I taught social media strategy and media and society for 2 years. Sometimes I had 2 classes, sometimes I had 1. But I was working full time when I was doing it. Okay. But taught there but through COVID and everything. Then after, so the same time as CBS, then I left there and went to Cinemark, which is HQ is in Plano. Everyone thought that, but HQ is in Plano. So did in-theater marketing in Plano. It's Cinemark for a year and a half. COVID happened. I was laid off, unfortunately. So it was about 3 to 4 months where I didn't have a job, and we were in a vortex of, also COVID and just life. Right. So I didn't have a job for a while and then went to work at UNT Dallas as director of advertising for about a year. I got my first director's title, so always, super grateful, but also it was less pay, so always, you went up with the title, and the work I was doing was going to be great, and the team was great, so super blessed. Again, I didn't have a job, so very thankful for that situation, and then I went to work for Target. Okay. After I interviewed for 4 months of different jobs. Okay.
Hey, it worked out.
I just don't, I'm just convinced. No isn't a thing. And if no is the question, it's a reason why, and it's not no, it's a pivot. But yeah, went to work for Target, fully remote, then moved to New York a year after that because we were still remote. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to Brooklyn. Supposed to be for 2 months, and ended up being a year. Oh, awesome. And then I ended up at the Mavs, but I had interviewed for 3 other jobs with the NBA before I got that one. Okay. So again, I really just don't take no. I interviewed with the Thunder. Okay. They reached out to me on LinkedIn during COVID. Okay. I interviewed 4 rounds. Shout out to the Thunder. Y'all just won the championship. It's in the South. But interviewed with them 4 rounds, didn't get it. And I'm like, Lord, y'all called me. Why? 4 rounds? It wasn't the one I'm where it's supposed to be. But interviewed with the Thunder, the Bulls, the Nets, and the Mavs. Okay. Mm-hmm. Was there ever a time where you felt like, because you named all 4 NBA teams, would you have been open to MLB and NFL teams at that time, or were you just solely focused on? Yeah, I'm a sports girly. You can pull out cornhole right now and be competitive. Now I might suck at it. I'm gonna be competitive. So I think I would have been open. My uncles have played in the NFL, so I would have been open. MLB, they have so many games.
Oh, they do.
There's so many games. Shout out to all my colleagues that work in the MLB. It's just a lot of games, so long season. Even last year when they won, or 2 years ago when they won, they had the All-Star game in Arlington right after. Yeah. It was just I feel like it was similar to our season when we weren't expected to go to the finals, and then we go, and then we can get into that. But yeah.
Okay. Is that something that you guys, and I say this when the marketing departments and the merchandise departments and even the front offices and executives, do you guys within the city, do you guys cross collab with any of the Cowboy events and Ranger events, or is it strictly the Cowboys over there, the Mavs are here, and the Rangers and all
yeah, I think we can always collab and make things better. There was actually just a marketing summit. Shout out to Brand Innovators. It was a sports and entertainment summit at the Star in Frisco, and so I think it was the Stars were there. There's a lot of different brands there. But the Stars were there. We were there. The Rangers, the Cowboys was at the Star. But I think we're talking like more like marketing wise. I mean, I'm sure other like, operations talks or, whatnot. But marketing, I know we're, going to collab more. I have ladies who lunch with a few people who work for the Stars and the Cowboys. So we talk. But like our season is similar to the NHL and in NFL kind of, and then MLB is a little bit different. And then WNBA, shout out to the Dallas Wings.
Shout out to the Wings.
They're in the summer.
Okay.
So yeah, because and it's difficult to get everybody meet up because they're like playing games. We can always do better.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Understandable. Okay.
And piggyback off of people's ideas and make things better.
Okay. And I asked that, and well, so you mentioned two things, and I'm gonna circle back to because we had some questions. You mentioned Live Nation and you mentioned the cross collab, and I'm gonna circle back. Give me a second. As we're gonna stick to the script on the photos, and so
I'm really trying to remember when this was. Trying to look at the shirt and what I was doing. This is like before COVID picture. 'Cause I had blonde hair. Shout out to the blondies.
Gotcha. Okay. When you start working with the Mavs,
they did their research.
We did.
Listen,
we did. We wanted to make
prepared.
This
Love it. Love
sure.
it.
When you start working with the Mavs,
yes,
and you do that interview, and you've talked about it on some different platforms.
My last interview.
Correct. And you talked about Scent being on that last interview. Stop. I'm going to pause you right there. Were you aware of who Scent Marshall was and what she had done, and
yes,
her being in the revamping that they were going to do with the Mavs coming out of the when they brought her in?
Well, yeah, I wasn't aware of like any revamping or what they had planned, but I was in the impression that my last interview was a panel interview with like VPs, so I wasn't aware that she was my last interview. So I thought that was my last one. I go on vacation to Mexico, and then I get like a text saying, "Hey, we have one last interview for you." And they told me it was sent. I was like, "God, I hope I have it at this point," But it was amazing interview. I'll take some stuff that she said with me forever. But yeah, that was the last round.
Okay.
Yeah, then I had to be in Dallas 2-3 weeks later. Yeah, that was from New York.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a good move then, a good transition though.
That was quick. Have you ever had to pick up?
I'm gonna tell you. So, I'm a catastrophe claims adjuster.
Okay.
And I can relate because I've had to. At that time, I was doing hurricanes and wildfires.
Okay.
I got a call to be in Atlanta one day. They said, "Hey, I need you to drive to San Francisco and be there."
But you're not fully moving.
No, not fully move. Not picking
from
everything
New York
up.
to.
Nah.
I had got rid of my car. Like my stuff was in storage.
Right.
Like I was also used to not driving. I was a subway girly. My friends were like, "You're on the subway." I'm like, "Yes, it's easy transit. Love it here." But yeah,
That's what I don't know New York's culture like that. That's a place that I'm reluctant to visit based off of.
why? It's wonderful. Go.
Well, because
you shaking your head too.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I'm reluctant to go because of the subways and the public transport. I like to just be able to get to where I want to get to.
Not just
own.
Okay, well then
culture or anything.
be bougie and run the Uber tab up.
Not at all.
No, it's
Why
a great.
you
I
like that?
love New
I mean,
York
the same
so
thing.
much.
Same reason.
Yeah, I
Go
just
ahead.
don't want to get on the subway.
Yeah, I was living in Brooklyn. My sister lives in Manhattan. I have friends that live like kind of all over.
Interesting.
Yeah, but my sister, she moved for a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And let me say, it's not just the subway; it's the rats. Like I've seen videos of rats
I
jumping on
might
people.
have seen a handful when I was living there. Like it wasn't.
And they were some pretty nice sized rats.
I mean, just like kick it.
Kick it off.
I'm crying.
I got you.
Kick it.
Okay.
All in the man lap.
No, New York is great. That's where I'm going in the morning.
Okay. Understandable. Leading from your interview and you taking the job with the Mavs, and then I would say year 2, you guys are in charge of doing the rebrand of the. Well, let me back up. I want to back up a little bit before I get into it. Now that you are director of corporate sponsorship, merch, and marketing, can you bring us all into, because we're in this room interested to know what are all the day-to-day duties of that job?
Day to day, it differs every day.
Okay.
Great question. I'm laughing at because it literally is different every day. So yes, director of marketing for corporate sponsorships and merchandise.
Okay.
So essentially I lead strategy for new business clients, renewals, and how they're going to activate with the team as it relates to marketing. And that could be ideas that are, in game, outside of that, how they're going to just the whole plan of how they're going to lay that out, marketing with the Mavs. So I oversee marketing for All-Star voting for that campaign, City Edition. This year it's a Hardwood Classic year, so Hardwood Classic, Los Mavs, but then just overarching strategy. And then for merchandise, I oversee all merchandise marketing strategy. So collabs, photo shoots, how we're showing up in social, email, website, all of that.
Interesting. That got me ticking on a lot of things, and it led me to what I said I wanted to speak on as far as the Live Nation. Whenever you guys are thinking of market strategies and things of that nature, are you guys thinking about how to incorporate those strategies with the Dallas culture, with hip hop's culture, with just different cultures? Even when you say Los Mavs, that would be the Hispanic culture that we would have here. So when you guys are doing a rebrand, kind of like what you did with the 2024 campaign, and you guys are coming up with new website names and new merchandise and the photo shoots, are you guys going out into the community or taking mental snapshots of, hey, this is Dallas's culture over here on close to Oak Cliff, or these are my Hispanic cultures over on this side? Are you guys thinking about how you can incorporate those into?
1,000%. When we were talking about the rebrand for merchandise, it was very much so like, how are we going to show up authentically, in the space. And to your earlier point, just about how I've worked in different industries. So I worked in marketing and branding and PR like my entire career. That's what my degrees are in. Both of them, just different industries. And I think it just made me be able to be more just aware of everything, because I am thinking about it with a different lens, if you will, because Target was, we're selling a retail product, CBS is TV, Cinemark, where it's movies, right? The nonprofit was asking for funds and lobbying for research and fundraising and everything. So, and then I taught. So I feel like I have a different lens, if you will. But to your point about merchandising campaigns, yes, it needs to be authentic to the culture. Like, it shouldn't look the same as if we were in Houston or if we were in DC, because the culture is different, right?
Right.
Houston, for example, they can do a lot. I mean, the former CMO there, he's amazing. They can do a lot with like Nigerian night, because they have a huge population for Nigerian culture, and just a lot of like rappers that come out of Houston and everything. So it's just different for everybody, right? And so I think for the rebrand, we were very particular in who we casted for the rebrand for merchandise. We worked with Jeremy Biggers, who is, an amazing muralist in Houston, to be in the campaign. He's in ticket holders. Just very particular about who we even casted. And then also where we shot it. We shot the rebrand in Oak Cliff.
Okay.
So we shot it at a church that had this amazing gym on the fifth floor or something. We had to bring in AC because it was in September, so we're just navigating that. But to your point, just being authentic in how we show up and how we are marketing in general.
Okay.
I know the Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship.
No, Tyler Street Church.
Tyler Street. Okay.
I got it. I know he was gonna jump. He's from Oak Cliff, so I know he was gonna jump.
Yeah, they had if you look at the pictures, and then also if you look at the Mavs shop Instagram page from like September, October of last year, you can see like the divide and how we just switched over everything. But you can see like the gym, it was just this very authentic, kind of like older gym that didn't even know that like Tom Brown, this brand, they shot Russell Westbrook's campaign in this same gym in Dallas. We didn't even know before we booked this.
Gotcha.
And they want to keep it a secret. It's like, it's in our backyard, but we shot 2 of our campaigns there. So your point also, how are we giving back? So we're shooting, at this church, and or showing up authentically with the models that we hire, the stylists that we hire, the photographer, right? So just how we're also giving back to the community in that regard, but still being authentic and still having an amazing product.
Okay. That's dope. I've always wanted to know what you guys did, and you see it.
And shout out to the retail team, like Farah. She's over the merchandise and retail team. I just help out as I always tell her with the marketing piece. But you think they want to do for years and years, but do they have the capacity? Because they have someone to like help when it comes to the marketing arm.
Okay, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's dope. It's definitely dope. You got my wheel spinning, and
Yeah,
different
because
situations and questions.
Because the
different-
rebrand really stemmed from our CMO at the time wanting to just rebrand the website
Right.
and make the website just stand out and cleaner. So make it like a kith or a fear of God and, make
Okay.
it very crisp and clean. And so we were talking, it was my CMO and then Gabe, who's over our digital marketing. We were on a call and we were like, should we just like also change the URL? Because the URL was dallasmavs.shop.
Right.
Like,
That's
should we
the long-
change it to mavshop.com? Okay, now we got to change the logo because the URL is in the logo. So then it just became this whole thing over the summer after the NBA finals.
Right.
So
Okay.
we ended in June and picked this back up maybe weeks later, and then we go into next season.
Right, gotcha.
So we literally it's approved by ownership and our CEO because this is a whole new aesthetic. We're thinking about merchandise as a lifestyle brand and not just as like a team that sells merchandise, right? So we had to get all this approved and new budget. So it was a huge lift. I look back now, like we really did that in like 2 months.
Yeah.
Which shout out to the team, which is crazy, but yeah, that's how it happened. Like it was like, oh, we should like look at this and change this and
Okay. You talked about it. And you saying you put it on your lenses and things of that nature. Now that we have the draft 2 days from now, how is the marketing and the merchandise department preparing for a number 1 draft pick?
we were so geeked about that. We were so geeked about that. Our CEO brought the envelope back. That's the actual envelope, and he brought it in, and we had this like whole like tunnel situation. Got to take pictures with it. I felt like a little kid. But yeah. Oh, also the hat that I'm wearing in the picture.
I wore one of Jordan's hats last
Yeah,
episode.
shout out to yes.
Yeah.
So we did. So to your point about community. Sorry. So
Okay.
to your point about community and collaborations, we also collab for Los Mavs, so Hispanic Heritage Night Month, and then African American Heritage Night, so Black History Month, and then also Lunar New Year, where we do collabs with different brands of those ethnicities. So Jordan, Black owned, Dummy Fresh, Hispanic owned, shout out to Augustine. So when we did for Los Mavs, and then Freedom Win, Iconic for Lunar New Year. So they get to design with our brand team and then, use our likeness. We have a collab. It's a limited edition collab. Once it's sold out, it's sold out. Hence the hat that we did for Black History Month that had a hoodie and a crew neck and a t-shirt. So the photo shoot for that one. But to your point about being authentic in Dallas, because they're all Dallas-based brands as well. So
Okay.
I'll also listen to that. But yes, we have number 1 draft. When is it going to air? After the draft, probably.
Day of or after the draft?
Okay,
yeah?
okay. So yeah, number 1 draft pick. What was that? We had a 1.8% chance to get it, and we got it. Yay, sports! As I always say, my friends hate it when I say yay sports. I'm like, yay sports. So yeah, excited. It'll be in New York, Brooklyn at Barclay. And yeah, so merchandise wise, all the teams have through various vendors will have like a hat, like a draft hat. It'll be the one that they actually pick, when they come up. So we'll have that.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of teams like do merch just for the draft.
Right. Okay.
Outside of that, it just depends team by team because all teams can decide like what they sell purchase. And it goes through the league. It goes through more than likely like Nike. Like it goes through various channels.
Gotcha.
To get
We'll be
approved.
looking for that draft hat then. For
It's on
whoever
sale.
selected. Okay. Gotcha. I hadn't took a look there.
Mavshop.com. It's a limited number.
All right. Good deal.
Yeah, there's a white version, 2 blue versions, and a bucket hat.
Okay.
And I like them.
Which hat do you think the number 1 pick will select? Will
I
it
don't
be
know.
the white version or okay? All right.
The pink one. I have no idea.
Gotcha. All right. Sounds good. Okay. All right. I'm gonna pause this right there as I want to give a shout out to our official sponsor, Exclusive Sneak Shop and Exclusive Barbershop. Whether you're looking for Jordans, Dunks, Yeezys, or some grills, if you pull up to an exclusive sneaker shop in Mosquito Rockwall, they'll get you right. Also, if you pull up to the barbershop, which is located at the Mesquite location, they'll also get you right. The best part about this is that if you pull up to the shop or if you go to the website, which is exclusivesneakshop.net, if you use the promo code REALGAME, they'll give you $20 off your next purchase, whether it's kicks or clothing that they have. Also, if you mention the podcast, they'll give you a free haircut on the barbershop side. So I think that's some real love. Okay. All right. We'll pick back up as we wrap back our show with the quick hitters. Normally when we have a guest in, we try to tailor our quick hitter session to fit them.
Okay.
Normally it's named more or less as Matt Lane. It's more or less.
So just go really quick with my answers.
Yeah. Just whatever comes to your mind. And when we ask these questions, and we'll even give you a segment. So we'll give you the segment where we're going to brand it or claim or cut it, I should say. So,
oh Jesus.
So either you're going to brand it if you like it or cut it if you don't.
Okay.
Based off of your job description.
I'm sweating.
And so the first question on this one is, and it's tailored to you.
You didn't tell me this part.
Okay. It's quick hitters.
Okay.
It's quick hitters. Do you think the DEI programs that Target and other corporations had, were they genuine or were they just out to fit the times based off of the COVID and the situations, the Black Lives Matter situations that we had?
The people who are working on them genuine. I worked on some D&I, or if you will, Black work campaigns when I was at Target. Okay. Like I worked on a campaign called Reach Best, which was where we were enhancing the Black guest experience in underserved areas, or areas that might not have been as noticed. So we did either a revamp of a store or opened a new store when I was there for Harlem, Inglewood, the Bronx. So I worked on that work directly, and then we also worked with agencies. Obsidian Works was a Black-owned agency. I believe Michael B. Jordan still owns it, but we hired in those to be creatives. I have friends there still working on that work, right? We did Essence Fest as well. I believe they renewed that contract with Essence Fest. So I believe, so when we were working on the intent was to make this amazing, to make it authentic, and to show up in that capacity. Unfortunately, it's shifted a little bit, but I think 1,000% authentic, because I was, working on it. Now people working on it in various spaces. Okay,
so you'll brand it based off of the information that you said. I'll brand it, Matt.
Yeah,
you're branded as well. We're saying that, and that question came up because, like you said, we are going through times right now where companies are retracting their DEI programs, and I just wanted to know someone who's worked hand in hand with DEI. And I want to know how you felt as an insider on those programs.
Yeah. I think very much so authentic.
Okay. All right, we'll brand that one. Next question. Hip hop, rap, and partnerships with pro sports.
Yes, do it more.
Okay.
I love it.
Can you elaborate on some of your favorite hip-hop collaborations that you've done, even while?
Oh, that I've done personally? Well, we were approached by Togetherland Music Fest. It didn't come back this year, but it one music fest in Atlanta. I guess it's like a off spring. I'm saying that right. It was in Dallas last year during Memorial Day weekend. And did y'all go? Was it Fair Park?
I haven't.
Okay. They had a lot of it was big, but so it came to us about partnering with the Mavs. Again, we're in the finals. Mm-hmm. We're in playoffs. Right. Like we're doing this on the weekend. But we gifted jerseys to several of the people who were performing. So we did one with Erica Banks, custom jersey presentation. Big Tug, we did one with him. Key Glock, I believe we did one with him. DJ Duffy.
Okay. Yeah.
As well. So, and then we showed up. We had like entertainers out there. So yeah, I love it. And then also Sneak Easy, which is our kind of like culture sneaker con, if you will. We didn't do it this year, but last year was the fourth year that we did it. We made it big with the Echo Lounge. Okay. We had Big X perform. Big Tug performed as well. Blues Are Great did live art. And then we sold out of it. I think DOC was there. Like it was dope. So again, like this is before, I don't even think teams can pull it off how we pulled it off. And then we had like various vintage sneakers on display. And then we also had Politics there. Center was there. Pace for Oak Cliff was there. We displayed Sham God shoes. So it was dope. And then we had a vinyl, shout out to Derek, our SVP, that's his brainchild, this whole event. But then we had like a vinyl DJ battle as well there. So it was, we had like over 200 sneakers just on display.
Right.
So yeah.
That's dope.
So we branded over here.
Branded.
Long story short, let's do more of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Branded with it. I'm branding it, and I'm saying this on camera. Our sponsor is the exclusive sneak shop.
Yeah.
He's mentioned that he wanted to collab and get into this.
Oh, that was a shame. That was his plug.
Ah.
That's what you were doing as a plug.
Yeah.
I think it should. I mean, for how long have music and sports collided?
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
No doubt.
Music, sports, and fashion. Like it
all
all
goes.
if you're
always
doing your job well, you
should
know,
collab.
even with Jerry and Fear of God and the NBA, you know, drops that he's, you know, doing as well. Like, you know, I'm all, let's do more of it.
Okay.
Right. And with the love that the WNBA is finally getting from sponsors, right? Gifting at the draft. Like we should be doing more of that.
Okay.
Shout out to DeRoe too.
Yeah, DeRoe
Yes.
came on and
Yes.
definitely gave us a great interview. So shout out to
Shout out to
DeRoe.
DeRoe. Yes, all more of all the things.
Okay, Brandon.
And pay my ladies in the WNBA.
I got it, Brandon. I just want to say I've been a Maverick fan since '91. I've been going to games since '93.
Yeah.
This is refreshing. You know, seeing how things have changed
Mm-hmm.
over the years is definitely some good stuff. Incorporating hip hop in it, for sure.
Yes, I love it. And then, I mean, also to your point, it's also who you have working, right?
Right.
And their experiences. We have a very diverse front office staff at the Mavs, whether it be your background, what you look like, you know, male, female. So that also plays a point into the work that gets put out.
Right, of
And
course.
people with different backgrounds. So, yeah, let's do more of it.
Okay, well, Brandon.
Yes.
All right. This one isn't a Brandon or cut it situation. This is more of your experience, but also a quick
Okay.
hitter. Your most memorable
Living my whole best
sporting
life.
event you've attended, and we got photos of you at the U.S. Open, which is something that I
Well, this one was dope.
okay.
I saw Coco play. So this one was amazing. This one I was at Target living in New York, and I was in a sponsor suite
Okay.
like twice. So also I feel like I can't go back to the U.S. Open now because I'm spoiled.
No, definitely go back.
But
and
I had
enjoy the
been
experience.
before.
Okay.
The first year I went was the year Serena retired, but she played. So we got tickets to the game thinking she was going to play the next match. She retired before that. So I didn't see Serena play. Shout out to the GOAT. But most memorable sports experience, honestly, that was a great one. I've been very fortunate. I mean, on a max level, I would just say going to the NBA finals and working for the Mavs, because if you would have told me when I started in October that we would be going to the finals, like the playoffs. People work in sports their entire careers and don't go to the playoffs, let alone the finals. So we got to go to Boston, you know, and go to that game. Interesting people up there in Boston. Love y'all in Boston. But that was just a blessing. Like each round, it was like, oh, we're doing this, right? And then we're in the playoffs, and so is the Stars, right? So that was amazing. But on like a more like wholesome level, like my high school football team, like going to those games was like fire.
Okay. All right.
Like
band.
we
I
were
got you.
good. I would have like we would paint players' names like our shirt. Like it was very
After
cool.
what you said about Texas High and the facilities
Yeah.
and then the athletes that came through there, just those experiences, I would probably say I didn't expect you to say that, but now that you built that up, I could say those would
I
probably be
I had a really good time in high school.
okay,
Yeah.
understandable. Okay, all right, we are coming to the end of
That went by
It
quick.
did. You definitely filled that up.
Yeah.
You gave us a lot of insight on things that we didn't know, which is why we did the podcast and did the
Right.
episode, and we're grateful for you to come on.
No, thank you.
Are there anything or any events or any projects that you guys or yourself will be working on going into the summer and the off season that you want to shout out?
The grind never stops. Yeah, literally gearing up for this season. I leave for the draft in a few. Trying to enjoy my summer. But yeah, we're just hopping right back into it with the start of the season and then planning for some great things. Global game, they announced that is coming up. But I think for me, just continuing to be a student of the culture and the space in Dallas and how we're navigating to just continue to produce amazing products for the fans and show up authentically and genuinely and do dope shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing that, seeing you guys' work, especially with the merchandise. We look forward to the draft on Wednesday night, especially now looking for the draft cap that whoever is the number one pick is selected and what hat they pick.
Follow me on Instagram.
Follow on Instagram as well.
Alexandria.Williams with 3 S's.
All
Follow
right.
you already.
I just wanted to get your IG name, Matt.
Yeah, but be on the lookout.
Okay, sounds good. Matt, is there anything that you want to contribute?
Follow me on IG too. Now just playing. No, I appreciate you coming on. Definitely enjoyed the interview. hopefully we can do something again another
I
time.
would love to come back on. I feel like that went by so quick. There's so many things to talk about, just like women in sports or business
no
in
doubt.
sports,
It's a lot.
NIL, and
Most
collegiate.
definitely.
There's just so many different things. So the platform y'all have is amazing. Like, keep going. I think it's great.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Yay.
coming on the show. We appreciate your time.
pleasure.
This is another episode of Real Game Talk, where real game meets real talk. We're still powered to you guys by Exclusive Sneak Shop. Salute to everybody that's been watching us. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.